After 14 years of shooting with Canon, I decided to switch to Sony. And after a full year using my Sony A7RV to shoot professional photography work and recording my YouTube videos, I will be giving you my very honest opinion about how I feel since I shoot with Sony, and most importantly, I will show you some footage and some photography examples for you to see the insane resolution of the Sony A7RV. I didn't switch to Sony because I wasn't happy with Canon. I switched to Sony because of my current needs, which are very different to my needs 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I still love Canon. I still own all my Canon gear and my Canon lenses. I didn't sell anything. And this is all I'm gonna say about the reasons why I switched, because I do have a full video explaining the exact reasons why I switched, and it may help you a lot because you have to focus on your needs, knowing mine, for instance. And I also have a video where I show you my new Sony gear and why I chose what I chose and how I managed to save a little bit of money, not much, but a little bit, because it's a huge investment to change camera systems, but I don't regret it. So this one is my camera of choice, my main camera now, which is the Sony A7RV. This one is a beast for both photography and video, so right now it's the perfect camera for me because it works very well for reasons I'm gonna tell you today. But I want to cover one of the main topics which was scaring me a lot about my switch, which is the color science. Everyone goes crazy about this, and of course, if you go too technical, you may notice some differences. I've been shooting with Canon 14 years, and when I was editing photos from this camera, I didn't notice any major difference. Maybe a little bit, but I don't even know how to explain it, okay? And even using my Lightroom presets that I created for my Canon cameras, I didn't have to change a thing because I can still adapt my presets to my Sony camera. The color science, it's perfect. The raw files look amazing. And even if for some reason you don't like the colors or something, you are shooting raw, or at least I hope so, that you are shooting raw. You can always change everything you want in Lightroom. So this is the first thing I wanted to cover because it was the thing that was scaring me the most about the switch. And the next thing I want to cover is the customization of this camera. I was blown away. It's like having a new toy, and yes, for sure at the beginning, it's a bit hard to get used to the menus. I'm more coming from Canon because Canon is very simple to use, but now I love it because you can customize every single little thing. And I love the dials of this camera because you can record video settings in the dials and photography settings. So this is gold because I do so many photography vlogs and so many behind the scenes for you guys for this channel. So I like to shoot video and then switch very quickly to photo to be able to capture what I just recorded. So for my photography vlogs, it's perfect and it makes things very easy. To be honest, for photo, I don't use it much. In London, yes, because I was shooting in a studio. So the lighting normally was the same all the time. But now I live in Bali and I shoot outdoors a lot. So for photography, I don't record settings, to be honest, because I'm constantly changing the settings in manual. But for video, it's perfect. Because in the first program, what I do is record at 24 frames per second, 4K. In the second program, I record at 60 frames per second, 4K as well. And in the third program, I have it at 120 frames per second at 1080p. And make things very easy when you are a photographer and also a content creator and you want to do videos. So I'm super happy with the versatility of this camera and how quick I can switch between photography and video. You can also customize every single button on the top and on the back. And then I'm gonna cover the photography quality. This, I'm still amazed about the quality of this camera. 61 megapixels, for those who don't know. And many people gonna tell you 61 megapixels is too much, you don't need it. And I agree. I agree because with 20 megapixels, 20 to 30, it's totally perfect for everything you want to work on. But if you get a camera like this and you have 61 megapixels, you're gonna enjoy a lot because it's not just about printing. There is this misconception about printing because they say, okay, if you grab a camera with 61 megapixels, the only thing that is good for is when you print very big. No, it's not just for that. I did print amazing photography taken with this camera and it's insane the quality, okay? So that's amazing. But the 61 megapixels are very handy, not just for printing. also when you want to reframe without losing much quality, and maybe when you don't have the right zoom lens. I do have a 70-200, so it's quite good, but if I want more reach, I can do it cropping the photo a lot because 61 megapixels allows you to do so. So the resolution, it's very helpful for these kind of things. And sometimes when I shoot my portraits, I feel like I can do macro photography just cropping parts of the portraits. When I zoom in my portrait photography, I'm always amazed because you zoom in by a lot and you can see every single little thing on the eyes, on the skin. It's obviously harder to retouch because you have so many things to correct, but it's insane the quality of this camera, okay? So the 61 megapixels are indeed incredible in many ways, not just for printing, so I'm very happy with it. There is a setting as well I love in this camera, which is the Super 35 millimeters. So it's like shooting with a crop sensor camera. You lose resolution, but because you are shooting at 61 megapixels, you don't lose as much resolution. You can still keep over 20 megapixels. So again, this is very useful when you don't have zoom lenses or you want to have more reach. You use this button and you can still shoot with more reach. So I feel this camera is super versatile in many ways. And then the stabilization. At the beginning, I was like, okay, everyone is saying it's amazing. And I was just thinking about video, about how it stabilizes video because I shoot handheld, I travel a lot by myself, I have a lot of gear with me, I'm a tiny human being, everything is very heavy, so I don't want to carry a gimbal. So the handheld shots are incredible with this camera. You can shoot very smoothly handheld and you're not gonna need a gimbal unless you wanna do something a bit more produced. But what I didn't expect that it would be so good, it's for photography. I shot these pictures in Malaysia, handheld, without a tripod, super slow. Look at the cars, how blurry they are, which I love, and look at the rest, how sharp it is. I was amazed when I was checking the photos. So it's very useful as well for photography, the stabilization of this camera. And obviously I'm coming from a 5D Mark IV with no IBIS, no nothing. So for me it's a huge difference. And now we're gonna go to the video quality because this beast records up to 8K at 24 frames per second. I don't use it personally, okay? I use 4K at 24 frames per second, and I do use 4K at 60 frames per second. And then you can record 120 frames per second at 1080p. So yes, you can record incredible videos with this one. And I also shoot now in Slog 3, which has more dynamic range in the image, but I have to mention that I have a second camera I'm recording with right now, which is the Sony A7C. And I love that camera because it's way tinier, so I use it a lot for vlogging. The quality, it's incredible, but when I can, I try to shoot with this one because I can record in Slog 3, but also because the Sony A7C, I have the first one that came out, doesn't record in 60 frames per second in 4K. It's just 1080p, and you can tell. And the reason why I have a second camera is because I'm a photographer and content creator, and I record behind the scenes for you guys, so I need a second camera to record myself shooting. So yeah, I'm very happy with my Sony A7C. It's very tiny as well. I'm going to talk about lenses now because this is a bit more complex, let's say, coming from Canon. That's why I want you to check the video I told you before, I'm gonna link it below, where I explain why I made the choices I made because it may help you. And also what I did to save a little bit of money, like buying an adapter for my Sigma lenses. This one is the Sigma 35mm f1.4. Okay, I'm not gonna go in depth about my gear. You're gonna have all the links below to my gear and also the video I told you about, which is gonna help you to decide based on your own needs, please. Don't listen to me if your needs are different, and don't listen to anybody else if your needs are different to that person, okay? The Sony lenses I have are the 70-200mm f2.8 G Master, the new one, the last version, because it's way lighter, and let me tell you that I couldn't be happier with that lens. It's super versatile for sports photography, wildlife, portrait photography. The quality, it's insane. I just bought one G Master lens, the 70-200, and then I got the 24-105mm f4, which is way more affordable, very versatile, and I love it. But I wanted, obviously, the 24-70 G Master f2.8, but there was a lot of money invested already with the 70-200, so I decided to wait save a little bit of money because it was very painful at the beginning. And with time, I will get more G Masters because something I've learned, I knew this already, but now I saw it with my own eyes, is that this camera, you have to put G Master lenses or prime lenses as well, because my Sigma lenses on this camera are incredible because you can see everything. But anyway, the 24-105mm is a normal lens and the photos are great as well, okay? But the G Master, the 7200, it's another level. But as I said, you're gonna have everything linked below. I'm not going to go more in depth about lenses today because otherwise this video is gonna be too long. But check my gear, and if you like something specific, please let me know and I can do a review. I will be very happy to do so. And please subscribe to my channel if you didn't yet, and click the bell button to be notified about my weekly videos, because otherwise YouTube algorithm is not gonna show them to you and you're gonna miss out. So this being said, the conclusion about my switch and what I think about Sony. Do I regret switching from Canon to Sony? No, I don't regret at all. Do I miss Canon? Maybe a little bit, but this is just in an emotional level because I started with Canon, I've been shooting with Canon my entire life. I became everything I always wanted with Canon. So yes, I'm an emotional human being. Many people are gonna think that this is BS, and maybe it is, but yeah, I still miss Canon a little bit, but I don't regret about my switch because for now, Sony is serving me way better for the kind of work I'm doing, which is photography and video. When I was just a photographer, I was happy with Canon. But when video came into the equation, I consider many options, and that's why I made the switch to Sony. Which brand should you choose? Sony or Canon? Well, you should choose any brand. Sony, Canon, Fujifilm, Nikon, Lumix, any camera nowadays, it's incredible, okay? There is so much competition between brands that they are all fighting to get better and better, and this is very good for us as consumers. So if you like a brand, go for it. What you have to do, I mean, YouTube, it's great for this, okay? You have all the reviews in the world for you to check them out and then make your own decisions. So don't go for a brand because someone has that brand. Don't go for Sony because I have Sony. Go for the brand that is gonna fill your needs. Sony ticks all the boxes for me and I chose Sony. And you will see me on this channel talking about Sony because it's the gear I have and I use. But you can choose something else. I'm always craving to try other brands like Fujifilm. I never tried Fujifilm yet. So that's totally fine. So please, if you have any questions, comment below. I will be very happy to answer. And check out these videos if you want to make money with photography. And I will see you next week. Big love from Bali.